And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show here on Hometown Television. I'm Craig Adkins alongside Jack Russell, and our first guest this evening is Fishers head coach Rick Wimmer and Coach 10th annual Mudsock game this past Friday night, and what do you know, lightning struck and gave you a little delay. Oh, you haven't seen that before.
Yeah, it's the standard procedure this year.
It's got to happen at least every other week. Kind of a topsy-turvy back and forth every time we would either check, if we could check Twitter, or we could hear Jim in our ear during the Westfield Noblesville game. We were hearing an update on the score back and forth, and it just it became one of those, like they say, an instant classic.
Yeah, it was a great game, I think, for people to watch. Our defense hung in there, kept us in it early. We struggled offensively early, but got some things going a little bit better in the second half. But our defense got 3 picks. One from Jake Willard, a great pick from Emmanuel Davis, sophomore linebacker for us, and then RJ had a pick 6 in the first. All those were in the first half. And then we came up with 2 turnovers in special teams, and we were able to create some plays there and some turnarounds for us. And then we were able to put a couple drives together in the second half. Our field goal kicker, Ben Norton, had a tremendous game with 4 field goals, including a 52-yarder.
Wow.
So he had a 52-yarder and a 44-yarder. Yeah. Missed a 28-yarder, I think. But, he's been kicking the ball very well for us, and as has our punter. So special teams were real big. We did have one mistake in special teams that hurt us, but I think we've played real well in special teams all year, and certainly made some plays there that got us the ball in good field position with a couple of muff punts. Our punter, Taylor Soper, just puts the ball a mile high in the air, and it's not easy to field, and we were able to come up with a couple of good turnovers there as well.
Yeah, looking at the stats from the rushing, you had Shores 8 carries, 56 yards, Noble 10 carries, 51 yards. Seemed like 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs with over almost 50 yards or more. Yeah. So it seems pretty consistent.
We've got a good crew of running backs. You mentioned Noble and Shores, and Trevor Newman is the other guy, the guy that actually starts for us, and we use them all. We've also got a sophomore H.L. Lewis who is would like to get more carries, and a senior Jay Dawson who really probably deserves to play too. We've got 5 really good running backs that. It's just hard to play that many, but we generally going to play 3 a game, and if we can get another one in there, we will. But we ran the ball. We felt like coming into the season that we were going to need to run the ball, and felt like we would be able to run the ball against most people, but it hasn't turned out. We've just had a slew of injuries in the offensive line, and although our running backs I think have been very good, we just haven't had the consistent push up front and consistency in the offensive line to really develop a group that really works together well yet.
Yeah,
got a couple sophomores playing in there, but we're getting better. And we had 180 yards rushing thereabouts on Friday, which is the best we've been, and I was real pleased with the way we ran football. I think that's something to build on. We've got to get a little more efficient in our passing game, certainly, and I thought at times we did some good things with that, but we've certainly got to get better in that area. And but a good running game can really help that. So being able to get that going, I thought was big for us.
Yeah, getting that passing efficiency up in the offense. With the stats on Max Preps, looks like Smith's only at about 46% with his passing, which obviously helps you want to lean toward the run more because that gets the comfortable. Mm-hmm. But you kind of want to balance it out so you can kind of throw off the opponent.
Yeah, we've always put pretty balanced offense on the field, and that's what we want to do. But we want to do what we do best, and And I think Joel has grown a little bit each game, and so I expect him to be better this week than he was last week. We got another quarterback, Matt Wolf, that we started the season with him splitting reps, and Matt's dealing with an injury that's just not quite healing, and so I don't know when he's going to be ready. But I think in the meantime, Joel's taking advantage of his opportunities, and I think he's played a little bit better every game. So hopefully he keeps making progress.
This week you played Brownsburg. Is that correct? So I just wanted to know a little bit about obviously Brownsburg last week had a pretty good game as well, but kind of what your thoughts are going into the Brownsburg game.
Well, I'm very impressed with Brownsburg.
Yeah.
I think their offensive and defensive fronts are very good. They've got a running back. A lot was everybody knew about Toksak and Rabati last year. It's been a 3 or 4 year starter for him, and he's gone. But the kid they got that stepped in there is really he's very hard runner, good speed. He finds creases, and I'm very impressed with him as I watch him. And of course Hunter Johnson, the quarterback, and they've got a pretty good crew of receivers as well. But I think their offensive line's very good. I think their defensive front is extremely good. Really impressed with them, and concerned about that heading in because it's going to really challenge our offensive line. We've got to have a success with the running game, I think, to be successful and do the things we want to do. So that's going to be a big challenge for us offensively, is moving the ball against a pretty stout defensive front.
Talk about R.J. Potts, and we keep seeing and hearing about what he's doing, and he's all over the field, Coach.
Yes.
How huge of a role has he?
Well, he's to this point, he's just having an outstanding year. I had a pick six the other night. He's had some hits on defense that were just big hits, and he had a punt return 2 weeks ago against Noblesville. They called back for hurdling, which is maybe the worst rule in football. But it was just such an athletic move, and that he did, and to bring that back is just a shame. But I get that's the rule. But and then. He had we've gotten him a little more involved in the offense each week, and it's just I think as the season goes he'll be 115, 20 plays, and Devontae Adams might have played even a few more than that. Devontae Adams is another guy wide out in corner for us and playing on some special teams as well. So those guys are just playing an awful lot of football for us and playing very well and playing hard. I've been very pleased with RJ's effort, and Devontae gives great effort as well, and they're both pretty important for us right now.
One of the questions I was thinking about was even before we even started all this, the HSC Fishers. Obviously that's a big rivalry. How do you keep your players focused? Obviously it's a big game, but controlling that energy.
Well, there's no problem getting them focused for the game. They're ready to play.
Yeah.
I just think we just try to go about our business and make sure just talk about things we have to do. We try not to make it an emotional thing. We try to talk about what the things that they do well, and HSE does a lot of things well, what we're going to have to do well, and just try to focus them on their job. And I thought our kids responded very well to the game. HSE's got a very talented team, and I thought we got great effort from our team. I thought there were a couple opportunities that they had to really pull away from us. And at the same time, we had a couple opportunities too. At one point, we actually had a 20-7 lead and let them back in on an 80-yard touchdown run on the very next play after going up 20-7, which just if we just play some defense there and get the ball back and not turn it over. quickly, not give them a touchdown so quickly. I think that could have really helped. But there were a couple times in the game where they got up a couple touchdowns, and it didn't look good for us. We weren't doing some things real well, but we fought our way back in it. And so I just very pleased with the way our kids kept fighting. Not pleased with some mistakes that we're making. We had a lot of penalties, a lot of holding penalties, a couple of dead ball pre-snap penalties that are senseless, and then the big plays on defense has kind of been a thing all year for us that we've got to stop, and we let them back in, let them regain momentum with a couple big plays. And so, we're looking to make those kind of corrections, but I can't, I think in terms of effort and our kids' preparation and all that, I think it's been very good.
Perfect. Sounds good, Coach, and look forward next Monday to talking about your game this Friday versus Brownsburg. John Hart, a seasoned coach, bringing the Bulldogs over to Fisher is going to be quite an atmosphere at 131st.
I'm sure it will. There's no better place to be than Fisher's High School every other Friday night. It'll be a lot of fun. And but I'm very impressed with Brownsburg. Of course, Coach Hart's one of the best, and so we'll have our work cut out for us. But I know our kids will be ready to play.
Sounds good. That's Fisher's head coach Rick Wimmer, and we will be back with more of the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show in just moments right here on Hometown Television.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
And we're back on the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show here on Hometown Television. Craig Adkins with Jack Russell, and our next guest is Noblesville head coach Jason Simmons. And Coach, just a tough one to kind of put together from this past Friday. Too many penalties, which stemmed into to that. Talk about the role of penalties and what that did for last Friday's game.
Yeah, we were able to put a drive together in the second quarter there and go up 7-0. Had a nice play call on the reverse to Ben Groover.
Mm-hmm.
Ben did a nice job on their sideline staying in bounds, and on the kickoff, they fumbled the kickoff. We had an opportunity to recover it at the 5. Got them into 3rd and long. Had a pick 6 called back with a blow to the head to the quarterback. And they, to their credit, they put a 95-yard drive together. 50 of the 95 were on penalty yards. And, I think that sequence of plays followed. They go down and score. We put a drive together at the end of the half, fumble at the 6-yard line. And, you can look at that sequence of drives and say that, that certainly had a role in the game. And then, in the second half, we didn't respond as well as we needed to have a chance. That's a good ball club Coach Gilbert has. We knew that coming into it, and we certainly didn't play our best on Friday.
one of my favorite parts of that game was actually even beforehand with the walk, when you guys walking into the stadium, and I really just would like to know kind of how that energized your team, because for me, seeing that as a fan and a spectator, it looked like a brotherhood. You guys were standing together and things like that, and kind of how that
you know, our community has been outstanding,
Yeah.
just in terms of our fan support. And Friday was no exception. You know, obviously, we finally got some cooperation from Mother Nature on a Friday night, and didn't have to watch the radar, didn't have to worry about delays. You know, that walk is something that's been at Noblesville for a long time. From a tradition standpoint, our kids embrace it, you know, and our community and our parents have done a really nice job of working with the athletic department to get the street closed and to make it more of a free-flowing event, really, for our kids. And you know, our kids draw a lot of energy from it early in the game, and it really carries over into pregame. In some respects, we got to try and kind of temper our kids a little bit, because they get so wound up that we don't need them exhausted at 7. But you know, that walk is a long-standing tradition in Noblesville football, and it's certainly something that we take pride in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one big, another key part of the offense, and we'll talk about Ryan Barnes and what he's doing so far through 4 games, but different weapons that he has. And obviously, you know, opponents are trying to blanket Jackson Thurman as best as possible, but you found that Ben Groover can be a weapon. Nolan Ginther up the middle. When that play is open, a nice little dump pass to Ginther, that worked.
Yeah.
Tremendously.
We've tried to spread the ball around a little bit. Obviously, with our run game, we've had a little trouble getting Chandler going from the tailback position. So we've tried to play a numbers game in the run game, and that's helped us get Ryan going. He's got 90 carries through 4 games, so it's something we're keeping an eye on for a lot of different reasons. But you know, we do have some guys across the field that can go make plays. Ben's making plays on both sides of the ball for us. He's an old throwback guy. He doesn't say much, just goes out and he does everything that's asked of him. You know, a young man like Blake Taylor starting to play well on the perimeter for us. Had a nice catch for 13 yards on Friday. Jackson had a couple of catches. Nolan down the seam. So we have parts. We just gotta learn how to win, play with confidence, and finish drives.
We just talked about Barnes. You know, he's dynamic in the sense that he can run the ball, he can pass the ball. That seemed to be a big difference from the Westfield standpoint, being able to control the running game, and then all of a sudden he'd beat you with a little dump pass like that. But at the same time, they'd try to play back a little bit, he'd run it for 10, 15 yards. So how has that been from an offensive standpoint, having someone like Barnes?
Well, having somebody like Ryan, the best part about Ryan is his ability to control the game from the line of scrimmage. You know, when we get to the line of scrimmage, there are calls that Ryan's making at the line of scrimmage based off of the look that we're getting defensively. His ability to read a defense and to make calls at the line of scrimmage is what allows us to stay out of bad play calls. And you know, for us, that's played into our advantage. You know, like you said, if we get a look that we can go bang it with, we'll go bang it. If we have to get out of it, and you know, if the box is heavy, then we can get out of it and we can get something on the perimeter. Being able to control those two things has been really important, and that's led to some of Ryan's success. And the other part of his success is him. To be quite honest with you, he's got a huge heart. He's a tough physical kid. He's got good patience as a runner, and so he's been fun to watch for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know, if it weren't for the 2 big scoring plays, Westfield had the 70-yarder from Freilich and 79-yard catch from Manley. You know, and bring back into play, you know, the blow to Nance on that pick 6. We're looking at a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, you know, I think we are. When you look at what gave us trouble the first 2 weeks of the year, came back, you know, and for us, I felt like our program took a step backward Friday because of that. You know, we gave up 6 plays for 242 yards. And you can't do that and beat Westfield. You're not going to do that and beat the team that Coach Gilbert has. And then, we didn't get drives into the red zone. So those two areas, kind of reared their ugly head again on Friday. And so we got to get back to work. We had a good practice today, but finishing drives from an offensive perspective and making sure that we tackle in space to not allow those big plays to happen defensively. And if we feel like we can get those two things under control, we certainly feel like we can go be competitive.
2 weeks ago, we got to watch Zionsville Westfield play. You guys are going to Zionsville this week. They were averaging, and it's gone down a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but 55 points a game, 1,100 yards. How do you guys prepare for something like that?
Well, especially with us right now, giving up big plays. That's all we talked about today defensively. We talked about getting lined up. Mm-hmm. We talked about reading our keys. You throw the film on that offense gets up and down the field in a hurry. Not only is it their pace in between snaps, but their ability to get the ball to a lot of different people in space can give people fits. And so, for us, we have to make sure that we're sound in our alignment and our initial movement. And we weren't there on Friday. We felt like our second level guys buried themselves into piles, had poor tackling angles, and then we just didn't tackle in space. And some of that was Westfield's running backs. Some of that was just us too. So, we have to be fundamentally sound with our alignment and our initial movement, and then we obviously have to keep the ball in front of us.
Keeping the ball in front is, if your front seven, contains Brendan Mikesell, that's obviously going to force Blake Levy to let loose, to Jay Edwards or, any of his other two or three receivers that he's been keying on, and that's going to be a challenge to guys like McGuire Plummer, Harris Camp, the guys covering that deep.
Yeah, we got beat a year ago down the seam versus Zionsville, so that's something that we have to shore up and certainly get taken care of this year. But so much of it is in that initial movement, whether we're rerouting those receivers and how can we knock their timing off, because so much of their passing game is predicated on timing based on what's on film. And then we have to be able to defend the run. That goes without saying. They do a nice job of creating angles for their offensive line and using that defensive initial movement against them. And so we have to make sure that we're sound.
Sounds good, and we look forward to it. I'll actually be in attendance at that game on Friday with my brother and his family. And so best of luck to you and the others at Zionsville. You're welcome. That's head coach Jason Simmons. That's Jack Russell. I'm Craig Adkins. We'll be back with more of the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show on Hometown Television in just moments.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
We're back with you once again on the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show. Craig Adkins with Jack Russell, and our next guest is Guerin Catholic head coach Tom Dilley. And Coach, obviously no show last week, but 2 wins in a row for the Golden Eagles, and we're starting to roll.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of things to fix. We're not pleased with where we are with a lot of things, but We are pleased that we're probably getting a little bit better each week, but it never goes quite as fast as you'd like.
Well, the one thing, with the write-up in the Times here in Noblesville, talk about when McGinnis was slammed down by a D lineman.
Yeah, he came down wrong on his shoulder, and it was just a product of the way he hit the ground. It wasn't a product of anything else. And tough kid, and you always, when you see a tough guy stay on the ground, you know there's something going on. So, the medical staff, our training crew, and the other people on site there did a nice job with him. And looks like he's going to be in good shape, but a little sore still.
Looked like in between the second quarter and the third quarter, 17 points in the second quarter, in the third quarter, 14 points. Kind of picked up in the second half, and then kept that consistently into the second half as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Made a few adjustments at halftime, but one of the nice things was even when Carter got hurt. Now we were down close to the goal line, but we put our backup kid in and didn't really change what we did. We ran it right at him, and he punched it right in, and that set a good tone for the rest of the team. I think that while Carter's a great player, and we're certainly concerned about him, everybody just needs to pick up the slack and go forward. And in the second half, same thing. We did some of the things that we normally do. We just hadn't called them much in the first half, and got fortunate with a couple decent sized plays.
That's what you can. It's great that you can count on if Carter goes out for a little bit, Kaiser or McDaniel to come in, and like you said, they didn't skip a beat.
No, I mean Thomas is one of the kids that we want to get the ball to one way or another. No matter what, he's a starting Z receiver for us, but he's really a tailback when he gets right down to it. So he slides into that role and fits in well. He's a different kind of back than Carter, but we're still going to run what we run, and he does a nice job with it.
With Carter, he had 15 carries, 131 yards, and Kaiser at 90 yards. Obviously, with his injury, that next man up is what you were talking about. How has that been a response right now in practice and preparing for this week?
Well, it was just today, and we had our normal lift and normal kind of run through some things. It's try to be all about self-improvement pretty much on Mondays. So we'll get into a little bit more tomorrow as far as the game plan and making adjustments and this and that. But it won't be just Thomas. Obviously, we'll use some other kids. We've got a talented sophomore named Dylan Crossan that we'll see some carries, I'm sure. And you already mentioned Sam McDaniel is a real solid senior kid that works. He's a great mental attitude kid and a very disciplined, coachable back. Also, we're looking forward to getting him some carries. We haven't really been able to get him many lately. So it's just like everything else. When you meet some adversity, there's some opportunity there, and this is a good chance to see what we got in some of our other guys.
Yeah.
The Howe Hornets, obviously, they made a very nice run in the 2A state tournament last year by getting, before getting knocked off by Monrovia in the semi-state. And I'm sure they've got plenty back from that team. What sticks out to me is how's quarterback Chris Rochelle, 16 of 27 for 365 and 3 scores. How is your defensive backfield responding with all that coming their way?
Okay. Again, we just kind of keep doing what we're doing and just trying to do it better. But Coach Chambers at Howe did a great job the last couple of years. Coach Tucker's taken right over where he left off. They do have a lot of their main guys weren't necessarily their main guys last year, but they've got a few really talented athletes that split us a couple times. So while they deserve a ton of credit for all of that, a big portion of that yardage was a couple big plays that we try to pride ourselves on not giving up. So we need to tidy that up. But we're never all that discouraged about number of completions and this and that. We just want to keep them in front of us and rally up and tackle. And we've always had the mindset that pitch and catch won't beat us. It's a matter of letting them run after they catch it, and that's what we let them do a couple times the other night. And we got to clean that up.
Yeah, I was looking at some more of the stats. The running game, 3 touchdowns, made a big factor. When it comes to preparing this week, what are some of the keys for this week as you as you go forward?
Well, just like any other week, we want to know what our opponent is about and be well prepared for them, but it's really about us getting better. And, we have our 4 base run plays, and we're going to hang our hat on 4 or 5 different core passing concepts. And, we like to think that no matter who we play, if we execute those well, we'll have a chance to move the ball a little bit. And it's a matter of us just doing those things better. So, that's still our mindset, and we're going to focus on getting better at what we do and getting some other guys ready and go play.
Taking a look. I know you obviously, every coach, you want to take a look at just this week, but you get the liberty of playing 3 home games in a row here coming up.
Do we?
Yeah, I like that. You've got that. Okay, we've got the Broadville Rockets coming, but you've got Greenwood, then you host Brebeuf. But I mean, it's probably not any different approach to practicing and preparation, for playing 3 games in a row at home, as opposed to alternating home away at home, to kind of get the kids focused on we've got to defend our home turf. Is there anything different you do? Or?
Not really. The biggest part of when it's different is your routine on Fridays a little bit different. Instead of having to be a little bit quicker and get on a bus, you've got some time to go through your kind of normal routine at home. We're heavy on home this year.
Yeah.
We knew that going into the year, so we're kind of accustomed to it a little bit already. But it's a matter of just get ready to play the opponent. And one of those home games obviously will be a homecoming game, and then you have some of those distractions during the week that you have to manage a little bit. But other than that, we try to prepare for everything the same every week.
I've gone to a couple of your home games this year, and one of the things that I liked the most was the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
When you get in there, and I don't know if you could talk a little bit about the atmosphere and how that kind of fuels your team.
Yeah, I think our guys really, like playing in front of our home folks, and our people travel pretty well too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we had a good contingent at Lafayette Central Catholic, and a good contingent at Howe. But no, the atmosphere at our place is, it is kind of neat, and it's a real community at Guerin Catholic, and that shows itself pretty well on Friday nights. And we've obviously, through the generosity of some donors, had some opportunity to upgrade some of the facility also, and some of those seating mounds and all those kinds of things that just make it a more hospitable venue also, in the kind of the commons area by the concession stand where all the kids are hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun too. So that's all good, and we really appreciate the support we get from the community, and I know our guys are really proud to represent them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good, Coach, and we wish you and the Golden Eagles the best of luck Friday as you host the Broadville Rockets right back home at Guerin.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, thanks. That's head coach Tom Dilley of the Guerin Catholic Golden Eagles, and we'll be back in a couple minutes here with more of the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show right here on Hometown Television.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Back with you once again on the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show. Craig Adkins, Jack Russell, and our next guest is Hamilton Southeastern defensive coordinator Matt Alfeld. And Matt, like I brought up with Coach Wimmer a little bit ago, kind of that topsy-turvy, Fisher's had a lead, then Southeastern comes back, and kind of back and forth, and before you know it, you're in overtime.
Classic Southeastern Fishers mud sock battle, It's just
better.
going to be wild and crazy, and there's going to be all kinds of stuff. 2 defensive scores, lightning delay just as the game's tied, and you think you're getting into overtime. Now you got a 30-minute lightning delay. You get to pack it in and go back inside, and we've had, you name it, and it's happened. We think we've seen it all, and then new stuff happens. So it's always a wild and crazy affair, but it's always a really cool affair too. They pack that stadium, and the spirit between the two sides, is just fantastic, and the community really gets into it and supports athletics, and it's a really special deal, and it's an honor to get to be a part of it every year, and we were just fortunate to come out with a win this year.
I just want to talk a little bit about the receiving. So far, the receiving per game is 263 yards receiving. Talk a little bit about how it's been a big part of your offense.
Yeah, we like to get the ball out to a lot of different kids. We had a big game out of Max Brooks on Friday night. I think he was in the 150-yard range and had a couple big plays for us. Opened the scoring in the game with about an 18-yard touchdown pass. Our quarterback Adam Mullet does a good job distributing the ball around. Having a little bit of trouble with ball security right now. We've had three interceptions the past 2 games, and that's something we definitely got to get cleaned up. But Adam rebounded nicely after a really rough first half. Came back out in the second half and got calmed down a little bit, got the ball spread around, and did a good job leading the offense. So, going forward, that's kind of our MO. Try to keep things balanced. Work our running game, try to get the ball distributed around a lot of different kids and make plays in space. And so far, we've been fortunate to be able to do that. Yeah.
Jackson Sweeney, I bring him up every week. He is getting to be that much bigger of a back for the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what he does with both running and catching the ball.
He was a workhorse on Friday night, 30 carries and just over 100 yards, and scored a couple of times. And Jackson's just a hard-nosed kid, and he just keeps getting better. And he doesn't look like much when it comes to stature, but boy, he'll hit you, and you give him a crease, and he can make a move and get up that crease quickly and score. So. Jackson's an explosive kid and a really great kid. Hard worker, very, very coachable. He would, if we told him tomorrow, hey, Jackson, you're moving to defense now, you're going to be our starting free safety, he wouldn't bat an eye. He'd go do it, and it's just the kind of kid Jackson is, and we're really excited about Jackson, and he's a tremendous part of our football program. We're very happy to have him.
We talked about this a little bit ago, and that is with a rivalry like this. How do you control that energy going into the game with your players?
It's hard. They're chirping on social media. We tell them to stay off, but you know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
They're in texting and all kinds of stuff, and they know a lot of these kids. They grew up playing with them in the mud sock fields and through the youth league and the nights and everything. So you're going to have that, but our biggest focus is with the HCC and dropping that game in week 1 to Avon that we felt we let one get away there. If we wanted to stay in the conference race, this is a game we had to have. You drop 2 conference games in our conference, and probably going to be a tough way, tough road to try to dig out of that. So for us, the focus was just, this is a rivalry game, but this is a game we got to come out and get if you guys want to have that ultimate goal of winning the conference. So we're still a game back at Westfield and Brownsburg, but by winning we kept ourselves in it, and we get a chance to go and try to climb back in again this week. So.
Talk about your defense. That's obviously your focal point as a defensive coordinator. And one name that seemed to come up was Johnny Ray.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's one of those all over the field kids.
Yeah, he does a good job, and he's our head coach's son. So he's getting coached by me. I'm his position coach, but I'm not sure there's a point in his day other than when he's in class where he's not getting coached. So. He's lived it, and he's had it at the dinner table all his life, and he's
a good thing. Keep him in line.
He's a great kid, and I've seen him, since he was 4 or 5 years old. I've watched him grow up, and he's quite a kid, and he's a hard worker, and again a very coachable kid, and an explosive kid. He played as a sophomore quite a bit for us last year, and now he's our will linebacker as a junior, and he does a nice job sideline to sideline chasing the ball down. You know, he had a sack on Friday night, the big scoop and score, you know, that put us up 10 in the fourth quarter. So Johnny does a heck of a job, and you know, he's going to be a good one before it's all said and done. He's doing a nice job.
Yeah, I want to correct that. I think I said Johnny right. Johnny May.
Yes, yeah, it's Scott's son. Yes.
Yeah.
You head to Westfield. Westfield last 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, 0 points against Southport, 8 points for Zionsville, 7 points for for Noblesville. How do you prepare for a team 4-0 and only letting in 15? What looks like 15 points in the last 3 games?
Yeah, they're doing a heck of a job over there at Westfield, and Coach Gilbert's got those kids right rolling, and they're ready to play every week. So. Defensively, they look pretty stout, you know, and I think their offense is helping them out quite a bit too with their ball control. They're running the ball. We tracked them in the last 2 games at 88%. So, you know, they're able to put points on the board, running the ball, controlling the clock, and you know, keeping their defense out, you know, standing by the coaching staff, and then they can get in and they're getting teams off the field quickly. So, you know, we got to get the chains moving. We got to build some momentum and try to get some points on the board early. Defensively, it's got to be stop the run and watch them lulling you to sleep and trying to put one over the top on you. And they do a lot of the RPO stuff with the run pass option at the line of scrimmage, where you know they got a heck of a quarterback and in the sweet kid, and he can make the call to give it, or he can take it himself. He's a heck of a runner, or he can throw seam passes and things like that. So it's a daunting task defensively to try to stop what they do, and then their defense is fantastic. So we got to look for ball security first and foremost. No free points and no free possessions, and then move the chains and try to get points on the board.
Yeah, this past Friday, Sweet was out for Westfield at Noblesville, and we saw Cam Nance, a junior, come in, and he actually did a pretty good job. Didn't have to pass the ball too much because, you know, between Freilich and Sweet Ann, it was, you know, two-headed monster rushing the ball, and you know, talk about defending a pair like that.
I mean, it's you got to be gap sound, you know, and the way they run their zone read and the way they run their RPOs. You know, if you take one step out of position, they're going to hit you. They're going to hit you in the seam. They're going to pull the ball out and run it on the edge. If you suck down on the dive as an edge player, you know, so we've got to come after them, you know. But at the same time, we also have to be gap sound, and we've got to play our position. And I thought we did a pretty good job of that against Fishers, you know, with all their cutback game, and they do such a nice job of blocking up front. I felt like, you know, we've got some things we can clean up, but we did a pretty decent job of making sure that we were gap sound. And against Westfield, that's going to be, you know, the MO this week too. We're going to have to do that to be successful.
Just one more question, and that's, you know, we talked about the two-headed monster. For you guys on the receiving side, Brooks and Klink, 287 yards, 237 yards in the last 4 games. You guys have kind of that from the receiving side as well.
Yeah, we've got a number of kids that can make plays. We've got, like you said, Brooks and Klink. We've got Logan Beagle out there that does a great job. We've got Drew Roulette that's doing a nice job there. Carter Lohman's been injured the last couple weeks, but you know, before he got hurt, he was doing a very nice job out there. So we've got multiple kids we can get the ball out to, and Nick Munchner stepped in and done a nice job in the absence of Will Michaelis, who blew out his ACL, and he's out for the season. So yeah, we've got a number of kids that have stepped up, and Austin, or not Austin, but Adam's getting the ball out to him and doing a really nice job, and we got to keep having all the contribution from all those guys, because that's what it's going to take to be successful and move forward.
Perfect.
Sounds good. We look forward to it, Coach. Friday night, Hamilton Southeastern at Westfield is the hometown television game of the week, and we'll have that for you here live on HCTV1.com, HCTVYouTube.com, and you can view it on our Facebook page as well. And Jack Russell, along with Brad Silbert, you know him, don't you?
Yes, I do. Very well. The voice of the Royals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They will have the call live from Riverview Health Stadium at Westfield High School Friday night. Pregame starts at 6:50 p.m., and they'll have the call for you at 7 o'clock. And it should be another beautiful Friday night for Week 5 action.
Craig, can I add one more thing?
You go ahead.
We had a member of our coaching staff, Coach Leidy, our offensive line coach, lost his father at about 3 o'clock on Friday, right before the Fishers game, and was actually sitting with him when we found out. And,
Oh, wow.
Coach Leidy's father was a legendary coach down in Castle in the Evansville area.
I saw the story Indy started.
He was Indiana Football Hall of Famer, John Leidy, and Vince Leidy, his son, is our offensive line coach. And just wanted to extend our thoughts and prayers to the Leidy family, and our hearts are with them. And it's been a very, very difficult couple of days. A lot of admiration for Coach Leidy. I don't know if I could have done it. He came back out 3 hours after losing his father, and he coached that football game on Friday night. So just as a Hamilton Southeastern Royals football family, we wanted to extend our love and support to the Leidy family and let them know that they're in our thoughts and prayers at this time.
Sounds good. Yeah, and also from us here at Hamilton County and Hometown Television, all the best to the Leidy family, and all you coaches and the players can help Coach Leidy through this.
Yeah, he's a very strong guy, and loves the kids and loves our football program. But I know he loves his father even more. So definitely, it's been a tough couple of days.
Well, sounds good. Hamilton Southeastern at Westfield Friday night. We'll have you for our game of the week here on Hometown Television, and we're looking forward to it. Thanks for stopping by, Matt.
Thank you, I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. That's Matt Allfeld of Hamilton Southeastern High School, their defensive coordinator. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes with Sheridan head coach Bud Wright right here on Hometown Television.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
And we're back on the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show. Jack and I are joined by Sheridan head coach Bud Wright. And Coach, tough one on Friday night with Carroll coming to town and 13-0, and just couldn't quite get the Blackhawks in the end zone.
No, it was a tough one. Actually, it's been tough for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, we feel like that we should have won as far as the games are concerned, but when you can't put the ball across the goal line, you're going to get beat, and that's what happened to us. We did everything except win the game, and that's been our story all year long as far as our losses are concerned. We're just not scoring enough right now.
Go ahead, Jack.
No, I was just gonna say, with last 2 weeks, how is a coach keeping your players motivated and keeping them focused and one week at a time?
It's tough. It's really. I mean, we had a long discussion after the game the other night, and also tonight we talked about a lot of such. And we had a short workout night. I told them that just take a little bit of time off and get themselves regrouped. But we were in scoring territory 6 different times the other night and didn't score. And they crossed our 50-yard line 2 times. They were inside our 50 once we fumbled, and then we once they intercepted a pass, and they were inside our. But neither one of those they scored on. But they had a long pass for 79 yards, and they had a 82-yard run in the fourth quarter. And if you take those 2 plays away, which you can't, they had -9 yards for the night.
Wow.
So 2 plays beat us, but actually you can't say that because we were in scoring area, like I say, 6 times and didn't put the ball across the goal line.
Yeah, it's all about executing the offense, and you've
Right.
got some young players, but you've also got some veteran players that have been there.
Right, exactly. And like I say, we had a first down on the 6 going in to score. We had a first down on the 7 going in to score. We had a first down on the 12 going in to score. And didn't get anything out of any of them. And, that you just can't do that. We make mistakes. I mean, key times we just make mistakes. Like I said, we had the ball on the 6-yard line, first down. We fumbled on the first down play. We fumbled on the 3-yard line. The next time down, we come down and we got a 15-yard penalty. It was on the 7. The next time down, we come down and we had a fumble, which we recovered, and then we had a penalty. So, things like that just beat you.
Going into this week, what are you guys doing to prepare for this Friday night? I know you said that they got a day off, but going into the rest of the week, preparing for Friday night.
Well, we're just going to have to get ourselves mentally ready. I mean, we're physically there. I mean, physically, we have out-hit, I think, every team we played. But we're just not there mentally as far as concentration is concerned. You jump off sides, that's all mental part. I mean, you got to get your concentration and not jump off sides. Well, we jump off sides 6 times the other night. Things like that, and we're trying to work on the mental state. We're making a couple changes, but nothing real big. We had, like I say, we're playing a lot of younger kids. We had a couple of key sophomores who the first 3 games hadn't played like sophomores, and this last game they played like sophomores, and that hurt us there. But you play sophomores, they're going to be up and down, and we just didn't expect that because the first 3 games they looked pretty good, and then they played a little bit like sophomores the last game.
Seems like what could be probably a pretty big thing this week is ball security and keeping the ball, and that could probably stem into everyone getting on the same page too.
That's exactly. We've got to get on the same page. Like I said, we went over the films tonight, and we had 5 different plays where one block would have set the runner for a touchdown, put us across the goal line, especially when we're down on the goal line. One block would have put us across, and we had on 3 of those, we had 3 guys stopped and was watching the ball carrier instead of blocking out front. On 2 of them, we had 2 guys watching the ball carrier. So you got to point those out. They got to play the whistle goes, and they got it, and that's the big thing. Just get the middle aspect where they play until that whistle blows.
With the film and watching the film here the last couple of days, how have your players responded to that? With the last 2 games, seeing their mistakes, how are they responding to seeing the mistakes and feeling like they're going to want to go out and correct those mistakes?
Oh, I think we're getting they're realizing what's going on.
Yeah.
And they just then, like I say, we had a couple of seniors that stood up and said a few things, and they realize that they just got to get themselves ready mentally, and like I say, they got to push themselves a little bit harder, and the middle aspect that was just what we got to work on.
Yeah.
Talk about the play of Joe Callahan, junior tailback that's 96 carries for 601 yards and 6 touchdowns so far this season. He's been your horse in the backfield, your main horse.
Right. Joe started out for us at running fullback, and last game we changed our tailback, moved into fullback, and put Joe from fullback to tailback, and he had 31 carries for 200 yards the other night. And I'd like to say he's got great moves. That's why we switched him back to tailback, because he's got an excellent balance move. He's got good balance. He's an excellent football player, and he's on the field all the time. He plays defense for us also, and he hardly ever comes off the field. He's been doing a great job for us.
Just taking a look at the running game too. I was looking over the stats there. Looks like, what is that, 200 and for the average yard per game, 250 plus. 267. Yeah. How important has the running game been? Obviously this year in the backfield.
Well, it's our key as far as what we're doing, and like we say, we got a lot of rushing yards. We've been over 300 a couple times and such, but the other night we had a snap over the quarterback's head, lost 20 yards, and we wound up with still 292 yards rushing. Yeah. So we'd have been over 300 yards rushing the other night. Yeah. So it's our stable. That's what we rely on, and that's what we got to do to try to correct things. We did throw 25 passes the other night. We didn't complete very many, but we did throw the ball, trying to open up some things.
Yeah.
Friday's opponent, you head up to Eastern up in Greentown. Talk about Eastern real quick.
Eastern is 1-3, just like us. They won their first ball game last week over Frontier. They won 40-0. They lost their quarterback, their senior quarterback, who was a 2-year starter. He got hurt at the end of the third quarter in game 1, and he looked really. They looked real good as far as the team is concerned, and he got a concussion. You can see on film where he got bounced around and he fell backward and banged his head, and they had to carry him off on a stretcher.
Oh, wow.
So he went out of the ball game, and they've been struggling with him out of the lineup. Last week, he came back and played one play. So I don't know whether he'll be back for our game or not, but he did play one play last game, and they got a sophomore who replaced him, who's a good-sized kid, big kid also, but he's just not the leader that the senior boy was. And a year ago, when he quarterbacked at our place, they had a lot of yards. We beat them handily last year, but with that kid at quarterback, they had a really good offensive team. They just struggle a lot on defense.
Sounds good, Coach. We look forward to talking about it next Monday night back here on the Hamilton County Football Coaches Show. This afternoon, thanks for stopping by, Coach, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I wore my IMG stuff. That's why he come.
And this afternoon, our Perry Williams stopped by Westfield High School to sit down with Westfield head coach Jake Gilbert, and here's that conversation.
Well, welcome to Hamilton County Sports Show. I'm Perry Williams, alongside Westfield coach Jake Gilbert. Welcome, Jake.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk a little bit this past Friday's game with Noblesville. You traveled to Noblesville and came out victorious 28-7, but one of the things that you found out quite early was that Andy Sweet wasn't going to be able to play this week, and Cameron Nance was going to be your quarterback. So talk a little bit of how that built up and some of the information on that.
Well, last week was a total roller coaster week because we thought Andy was going to play, then he wasn't, then he was, then he wasn't finally at the end of the week. And so we had to just be prepared. Cam did a good job of preparing all week and being ready, and our guys did a great job just rallying around him and doing whatever we would have to do to get the win. So we really weren't sure throughout the week what was going to happen with Andy, and so we kind of just prepared to not have him, and that it ended up working out. So hopefully he'll be healthy and ready to go next week.
You know, the one thing with Cameron stepping in there, I mean, it's that typical next guy up, and I think he did a fine job in there of handling the football team, and like you said, the team rallying around him.
Well, he did what we asked him to do, and he made a couple plays. He had a huge run for us to get a first down, and we ended up scoring on that drive. Obviously, he had the 81-yard touchdown pass to Evan Manley, which was an enormous play. So we asked him to hand it off a lot to our guys, which is our offense right now. But at the same time, we needed him to make a couple big plays, and he made them when he needed to, and the timing was impeccable.
Absolutely. And, Coach, let's talk about those two running backs because, obviously you may have to do some little bit of adjustments to your game plan going with a new quarterback. But talk a little bit about those two running backs because both of them are becoming quite special.
Yeah. Well, they're beasts. They both ran for over 100 yards against an excellent football team, and that's saying something to have a couple 100-yard rushers against those guys. So kudos to the offensive line. I think that they played great to produce those kind of stats, to not only run the ball, but run the ball when they know you're going to run the ball and still be able to do it. And then they hit a couple big plays in there too. So they're bruising type of backs who run really hard, but they're starting to get some big play potential. I think Nate Fralick had a 70-some-yard run.
Yeah, 70-yard run, yeah.
That shows some breakaway speed. And then on the last touchdown drive, Johnny Sweden carried the ball for all 97 of those yards. We started on the 3, I think, and he carried the ball for 97 yards worth on one drive. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty special, Coach. That's pretty special. And especially these two backs. I mean, they've done a great job for you guys all season. Now you're sitting 4-0, and they've been a big part of that. So, but let's talk a little bit. You want to mention a few of those linemen that do such a great job for them blocking?
Well, I mean, the whole group has been great. Chad Ray, he's been really special all season, and been really, really happy with him. He's been great. He's joined by some other seniors. Austin Dollins is a 3-year starter for us. Spencer Stackra plays right guard and has been a force, can move guys out of there. Gannon Asher and Matthew Robinson are our offensive tackles. And then Joe Mara has played quite a bit as our 6th offensive lineman. So been really happy with that group as a whole, and they get in there and fight and do all the dirty work for these guys to score touchdowns.
Well, and one of the big plays happened in that fourth quarter there was early fourth quarter was that touchdown pass that Cameron threw to Manley. That was a 79-yard pass, so that was big.
Yeah. Well, again, the timing. I thought it was a great play call by our offense coordinator, Blair Slicker, and just the timing of it was right. And Evan Manley's a huge, big play guy. Probably should get the ball a whole lot more than he does, but he's an excellent wide receiver and will be a great guy at the next level. But he's terrific. So if we're going to throw it up deep to a guy, he's a good one. And then Cam put it on the money, so I was happy that Cameron had the poise to stand in there and deliver that pass, and that was a huge play for us.
And then one advantage is if someone does, which hasn't happened much so far, but if they happen to stop your running game, you do have a passing game and you do have some good receivers. But so far that running game's been very, very strong this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little. I mean, the score 28-7, and let's talk a little bit about that defense because, week in, week out, they've stepped up and played big.
Yeah, we didn't force the takeaways this week, which kudos to Coach Simmons and Noblesville, but they still stopped a good football team. Yeah, they clearly came out with an idea of running their quarterback, who's a great player, and some power football, and then they kind of got comfortable with some passing concepts that were working. But I think once we kind of got the hang of all of that, we played pretty good defense, and they scored first, but then we were able to score 28 unanswered. We're really, really lucky in the first half to be 7-7. I mean, it was very fortunate. Some penalties helped us out, and just some lucky plays. But then the second half, I really felt like defensively we put the clamps down and did a really good job. And then offensively we found our stride, especially in that fourth quarter. So a little luck in the first half, but then the defense, I think, they did what they do, and we've, with our first team defense, they've yet to give up more than a touchdown in any of the games so far. So that's pretty good.
Absolutely, and it was much that there were several times that Noblesville had a drive going, and your defense made the stand and stopped them. So it bent a little bit, but it didn't break,
Right.
and you were able to do that. A great win for you, Coach. You're now setting 4-0. This week, another Hoosier Crossroad Conference game. I always hate to say it's a big game, because when you play in the Hoosier Crossroad Conference, every week's a big game.
That's true.
The schedule you play as far as non-conference games. I mean, you guys set it up to succeed and make yourselves better, and that's exactly what you've done this season. So let's talk a little bit about the Royals, because I know that they got a great team also that you're going to be facing, and you're going to be here at home.
Yeah, I'm glad we're home from our fans. Excellent football team, very well coached, good staff. They're always good. They're the defending conference champs, a talented team, so it won't be easy. None of the games are, but these guys in particular are really tough. They're 3-1. Obviously, they beat Carmel. That's a huge win. Their one loss is to Avon, which is another great football team. They had their resolve to beat Fishers in overtime. Thought that was very significant. So we're, we'll give them our best. I mean, but they're a great football team, and we can't wait to measure ourselves against them.
Absolutely, because like you said, these next 3 or 4 weeks are going to be very, very critical.
Yeah.
Which they always are.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
It's just a fine line there between winning and losing in this conference. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out to sit with us and interview, and good luck in Noblesville. Hamilton County TV will be here this Friday to broadcast your game, and we look forward to doing that once again. I think this is the 3rd week in a row for
Hey, keep
the
doing
Rocks.
it.
Yeah.
You're good luck.
All right.
Keep winning.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.